The rain that night wasn't just water, it was the final, cold rinse of my old life. I stood on the curb, the tail lights of John's sports car dissolving into the slick city street, taking with them the last shred of my dignity. I could still hear his voice, dripping with that familiar, arrogant dismissal. "You're being hysterical, Claire. Mary, she understands the pressures of my world." I'd found the texts, then the hotel receipts, confronted him at the gallery opening, my heart a wild bird in my throat. Mary had been there, of course, clinging to his arm in a dress that cost more than my monthly rent. She didn't even look at me with pity, but with a cool, calculating triumph. "John needs a partner who can elevate him," she'd said, her voice a silk-wrapped knife. Not hold him back. And he'd let her speak. He'd stood there, his silence a louder betrayal than any shout. The fight was a blur of choked accusations and his cold, logical deconstructions of my failures. I was too emotional, too idealistic, too ordinary. When he finally drove off with her, the pavement seemed to rise up to meet me. I sat there in my ruined evening gown, the city's indifferent glow reflecting in the puddles around me. But as the numbness receded, a different chill set in, a clean, sharp fury. I wiped the rain and tears from my face with the back of my hand. Elevate him? I thought, the words igniting something long dormant. I would build my own damn skyline. I got up from the curb. That was the first step. The next 3 years were built on coffee, cunning, and a cold burning focus. I used the small severance from the job John had always belittled as a hobby to start my own boutique marketing firm. I remembered every condescending remark he'd made about business, every time Mary had flaunted her connections. I studied them not as wounds, but as blueprints of what not to be. I worked with clients who valued integrity, built a brand on authentic storytelling, and slowly, relentlessly, climbed. My ordinariness became my superpower. I understood real people, real markets. My idealism became a respected vision. I didn't just build a company, I built an empire of my own making, brick by brick, while healing my heart line by line. So, when my assistant's voice came through the intercom in my sun-drenched corner office, "A Mr. John Davies is here to see you. He says it's personal," I didn't feel a tremor. I felt a profound, quiet stillness. "Send him in." He looked smaller. The arrogant set of his shoulders was gone, replaced by a defeated slump. His expensive suit was slightly rumpled. Mary, I'd heard through the grapevine, had bled him dry and left the moment his ventures started faltering, taking half of what was left with her. "Claire," he breathed, his eyes red-rimmed. "You look incredible." I said nothing, just waited. "I made the biggest mistake of my life," he began, the words tumbling out in a practiced, desperate rush. "She was a poison, Claire. A scheming, gold-digging nightmare. Everything she said, everything I did, it was a sickness. I've been in hell. You were the only real thing I ever had." He took a step forward, his hand trembling slightly. "I see you now. The power, the grace. I was blind. We can pick up where we left off. I can support you, be the man you deserve." He was still doing it. Framing his betrayal as a spell Mary cast. Positioning himself as the victim, and now, my potential savior. The arrogance was still there, buried under a layer of pathetic dust. A sad, quiet smile touched my lips. Not for him. For the woman on the curb, who would have given anything to hear these words 3 years ago. "Where we left off, John," I finally said, my voice calm, clear as glass. "You left me on a curb in the rain. I built myself a palace from those stones." I stood up, walking to the window that overlooked the city I now commanded a piece of. "You and Mary were perfect for each other. You were both transactions. You traded affection for adoration, and she traded pretenses for a paycheck. You deserve the emptiness you found." His face crumpled. "Please, Claire, I love you." I turned to look at him, seeing not the man who broke me, but the catalyst who forced me to build something unbreakable. "No, you don't," I said, not unkindly, but with a finality that echoed in the spacious room. "You love the idea of the life I have now. But this life isn't for you. My security team will see you out." I didn't watch him leave. I turned back to the skyline, to the world I had built from the ground up. The rain that night had washed away a girl who believed in fairy tales. In her place stood a woman who knew her own worth, and it was a price neither John nor